it's just so much richer in culture and how big it is, and everything is bigger, which means the scares, the kills, the blood, the chase sequences, everything is bigger in New York City. And that was really fun to play with in this film.
Congratulations on all the success with Scream and Yellowjackets and all the cool things you got going on. Amazing job, incredible job. Scream is incredible. I love the chance to revisit Scream 5 and 6 as much as I possibly can because I absolutely love those movies. What's something that you really wanted to focus on with your character in Scream 6 that maybe wasn't as prominent in Scream 5?
Well, I was grateful to get to see her in a relationship, that we got to see Mindy with Annika, and just see her happy, seemingly well-adjusted, moving on from what happened until, of course, the trauma began again.
Can you talk about Mindy's evolution from the beginning of Scream 5 to the end of Scream 6?
Yeah, I think at the beginning of Scream 5, we meet all of them after school, talking about what's going on. And Mindy is a bit more annoying. She was kind of annoying then with her facts and not as comfortable in them. And I think, she was a teenager, not super comfortable in her body. She was smoking a lot of weed and kind of inward. And in this movie, she's more like out. She's not smoking as much or at all. We don't know. She's out, like visibly, like she has a girlfriend. She's more physical and expressive and annoying to Chad because they're siblings. But I think more comfortable in her knowledge, but still with a ways to go.
Absolutely. Now, what's your favorite part of playing such a self-aware character, which really sets Scream apart from any other horror franchise?
It's fun. It's fun to be in on the joke and to be in on what's happening. So often in acting, you're like pretending not to know what you as a person know. And in this case, me and Mindy both know the same amount of stuff pretty much. And it's fun in this role. I get to do a lot of improv. Well, do I get to, or do I just do it? Good question. But I improv a lot, and I just have a great time working with this team.
At Scream 5 and 6, I feel really tap into some of the themes that Scream in 1 and 2 have, some of the story elements. Do you think if there is a Scream 7, which, look, there has to be a Scream 7. It's such a great franchise. But if there is a Scream 7, do you think, or do you want them to take a similar approach in what they did with Scream 3, or something completely different?
I would trust them no matter what they decide. If they did a similar approach to 3, we would have a lot of fun. But if they did something completely different, I trust that it would be the right move.
How would you like to see Mindy grow in Scream 7?
Well, I think it would be interesting if we're a couple years into the future and she's more confident. Like, I feel like a theme of 6 for Mindy was she was right about so much, but she kept undercutting herself and kind of gaslighting and doubting herself. And I would like to see her own that she knows what she knows. And if she has an inkling about someone, that she's like, we don't talk to them. And to see her step more into that leadership aspect of herself and to see who she is just a couple years from now would be really interesting to me.
Scream has a very hardcore fan base, and it always has since the 90s. Why do you think audiences connect with the core 4 like they did the original 3?
Oh, that's a good question. I think because the core 4 are of the moment. We reflect the culture so much in every way. Like, we're a group of people of color. Mason and I are mixed race people of color. And that is so true of the moment. We're all millennials or Gen Z, and the writing is very Gen Z, at least for Mindy, in the way that like they think and process. And modern horror fans, like the next generation of horror fans, are the age of the core 4, and so they want to see themselves represented on screen. And I think that we also have a really good chemistry and charm, the same way that the original 3 did. The 4 of us have that in our own special way.
You absolutely do. And like you said, that's the one thing I love about this new iteration of the Scream franchise, because as a biracial male myself, like I love seeing representation on screen like that. It's absolutely amazing. Are there any other legacy Scream characters that we haven't seen that you'd like to see return to the franchise, or are characters connected to them?
Well, I would love to see, we've already seen Heather Matarazzo, Chad and Mindy's mom, but I would like to see more of her. And I'm so curious who their dad is.
Right.
If he is someone from the past film or if he's someone new. I would love to see more of that family explored.
I think you're writing little story elements for them to pick up on in Scream 7 there. Now, knowing Mindy as well as you do, is there anything that you wanted to bring to your performance that wasn't necessarily on the page?
I would like to see more of her outside of the Scream environment, meaning we got to see Sam at her therapist office. Like right. we didn't just see, we got to see her with Danny and being in love. We aren't just seeing her running from Ghostface, talking about Ghostface. And so I personally would love to see a bit more of Mindy outside, even if she's talking about the stuff the same way that Sam was talking about Ghostface with these people. It was other pieces of her in other environments. And I would like to see who Mindy is. I don't know. Yeah. Alone with Annika, or like in a film studies class, or maybe she's making and directing a short film. That would be hilarious to see her in other environments.
That would be incredible. The one thing I loved about Scream 6 too is that it took it to New York, which is a bigger, it seems like a bigger city in scale. I mean, it obviously is, but it also felt like there's a bunch of little compartments and places just to get trapped in. Can you talk to me a little bit about what New York added to the franchise with Scream 6? Because it felt like its own character.
Absolutely. I mean, New York is a character, as we all know, people who've been to New York. Yeah, like you said, there's so many places to get trapped. It's just so dense. The population in New York is huge. So that means the possibility of running into Ghostface is higher. Like Ghostface could be anyone, anywhere, at any time. And in New York, you have access to more things to hurt people with. Like everything is a weapon in New York City. You could turn a piece of paper into a weapon or something to kill someone with. So there's that piece. And then it's just so much richer in culture and how big it is. And everything is bigger, which means the scares, the kills, the blood, the chase sequences, everything is bigger in New York City. And that was really fun to play with in this film.
Where would you like to see Scream 7 go? We've already been to LA, we've been in New York. Where would you like to see 7 go?
I want to see 7 in Tahiti or some island simply because I want to go there. I want to go somewhere tropical. How about Ghostface in Hawaii? Oh no, we have to shoot it at a resort. That sounds terrible.
You guys would never escape the island.
Yeah, it's like White Lotus by Scream crossover.
Yeah, right. That's like the perfect mix right now. What's been the most surprising part about playing Mindy in this new era of Scream for you?
I really didn't expect to be embraced so hard by the fandom. I didn't know when we shot 5 what the reception would be to this new class of characters, because the original 3 were so beloved and we were never trying to compete. We just are new people. And I didn't know that we would be met with such love. And I've just the love online and even in person when I run into Scream fans are always so kind and generous and super queer. And I am happy anytime I can run into a queer person and they say that they see themselves in my work. Like that's just such an honor and a privilege. And I hope I get to keep doing that.
Actually, that leads right into my next question. Can you talk about the importance of LGBTQ representation in horror with Scream and Yellowjackets, especially with how intertwined they've been historically?
Yeah, well, that's a great piece of it is, historically queer horror is queer, but it's really queer coded, or it's queer behind the scenes or a mixture of the two. So to have a queer character and queer characters now out and proud in the horror franchise, it's like, finally, it's like, here we are taking up space in a space that already was ours, but everyone pretended wasn't. And also it's just important to see queer representation anywhere we can right now when the LGBTQ community and the trans community are being so viciously attacked in our politics. It's just ridiculous. And so any visibility we can have where we can see queer people and trans people just being is helpful and good. And I don't know how many religious people are watching horror films, but I bet a lot are in secret. So happy that I can be in their living room with them.
Well said. Absolutely well said. Look, switching gears for a second, because a lot of us at Screen Rant absolutely love Yellowjackets. Do you think Taissa is being more acutely affected by the darkness in the woods because of her mysterious connection to the man with no eyes?
For sure. Yeah. I don't know what is up with that. I still don't know who that is or where he came from. I mean, I know, he's connected to her grandma, but like beyond that, I don't know what the deal is. And I think that is taking a huge toll on her for sure.
Jasmin, thank you so much for your time. You were incredible. Scream 6 is amazing. It's so brutal. It's like the most brutal out of all the Scream movies. I can't wait to see what you do next. And Yellowjackets is phenomenal. So thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You too.